Warning, hazardous radiation levels detected.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Shadows of the past keep hanging on no matter how much we try to forget. The dark and gritty world that never was calls our name. Welcome, dear viewers, to Recreating Half-Life 2 Beta 2022, a 5-part series where I look at Half-Life 2 Beta themed mods. In this video, we'll be again stepping into the world of Dark Interval. Dark Interval is a mod that aims to recreate Half-Life 2, specifically how it was during its development, a stage that we've all come to describe as Half-Life 2 Beta. The mod has been in development for years now. With a small team and steady development, the mod has shown great progress. In 2020, I looked at Dark Interval Part 1, which had 4 chapters. I talk about them in an earlier video. I'll have it linked so you can view it if you want. Dark Interval Part 2 continues from where Part 1 left off, right after Dr. Kleiner's lab. Here's the thing, each and every section of this mod feels unique and beautiful in its own right. There's always a moment where I just stop and look around and appreciate the world that the mappers and modders have done on this mod. This feels like a lived-in world, and what I liked more is that Dark Interval doesn't bank much on the original beta maps, but rather infuses beta themes into original creations that feel appropriate for what they're going for. This could have been Half-Life 2 in another timeline. And the level of professionalism shown through details is outstanding. Dark Interval is one of those rare mods which are on the same level as something Valve would make. Without a doubt, this is retail quality stuff. And seeing that this is how the mod looks during development, I am more than excited about how it'll look when the day arrives and this mod is completed. Maybe it'll take years, who knows, but I am more than happy to wait if it means this gets finished. So the starting area has you in combat with a bunch of Metro Cops and Elite Metro Cops. The level of difficulty was a little high, but that's much better than having no difficulty at all. You can't just run and gun through this, but have to take cover and think before you shoot. Traversing through this section, you end up in a dilapidated building with a bunch of enemies. You know, when I was on the rooftops, I noticed how quote-unquote full the map felt. If you look into the distance, you'll see swarms of buildings and things that make you feel small in comparison. The skyline looks absolutely beautiful. After that, there's this extended area of the industrial zone. Here and throughout the mod, the areas have a sort of personality to them. One glance and you realize where you are. The way environments merge into one another is very well done, especially in the outdoor areas where you'll see Combine equipment laced into human-made structures and Zen fauna spread throughout the levels. And similar to Part 1, the sense of scope is just amazing. Each area is grand in nature, with little sub-areas to explore. Of course, the path you have to travel stays linear, but there are sub-paths to go down and find resources such as ammo or health. There were 3 things that I think should be updated or added, and those are new weapon models, addition of voice lines, and new music. Now, I don't know if that's already planned or not, but just with the addition of voice lines, I think the world will become more alive than it is right now. Of course, it's a demo, so that's not a big problem. Voice lines and music might be something the team might add during later stages of development. But speaking of weapons, I don't know if the current retail variations are fine or should there be beta weapons as well. Of course, you know I am totally biased about having a MP5K in the mod, so we'll have to see later what the team does. I'll be fine with whatever they go with. Next up was this beautifully made area which kind of reminded me of Half-Life Alyx for some reason, and that's not a bad thing at all. Again, there's variety in the levels, something fresh and something new to look at. It keeps the player intrigued at what they'll find next. The first time I played and streamed this, I was just awestruck at all of the exterior sections. and even the underground areas, which will come later. Now in this building is where I was super happy and scared at the same time. The cremator comes in during this fight, and just knowing what he does and how he looks, I got into a fight or flight mode immediately, and he's no pushover either. The big guy takes quite a lot of hits to go down, and staying still in one spot or getting too close to him means you're done for. There were also wasteland scanners too. Going through all of this, I would say this is, as the kids say, some good shit. After all that's done, we move on to the next part of the level. And looking at these old buildings, I felt such a strange sense of nostalgia. This mod, without a doubt, captures the spirit of the concept art and perfectly projects it in a new and fresh way. I'm glad they kept the design original, but took heavy influence from the concept arts and maps, rather than outright copying them. Then we meet up with Barney, and he tells us to carry on and escape through the canals. But we still have quite a way to go before we reach the canals. After another encounter with the cops, we move through this destroyed building to the next area. Playing this mod gives off a very interesting feeling, a feeling that makes you think. To think that the game we all love so much could have been so different. When you dive deep into it, it brings out some alternate timeline thoughts, thinking how different things could have been. And I am more than glad to see that there are mods like Dark Interval that are well on their way to fulfill the dreams of, if not millions, then thousands of Half-Life fans out there. I hope this project and the rest of the beta-themed projects keep steady on their development, and one day, one of them will make the beta dream come true. But enough with my demonstration of feelings about the beta, back to the mod. As we progress on and on, things start to become more decrepit and derelict. The sky turns grey, it starts raining, there's rubble of destroyed buildings, more and more occurrences of Zen fauna around every nook and cranny. This paints an idea that this area is one of the lesser traveled ones by both Combine and citizens. Also in this area, we come face to face with not one, but two cremators. The fight definitely becomes tense, but with careful planning, it's a worthwhile encounter. I love this lift area. Slowly moving across the chasm, you see the citadel in the distance, knowing that that is where the grand finale will be. As the sky turns more darker, we finally end up in the canals, and what a sight. The slow revelation as you come out of the tunnel, breathtaking. The canals is where I felt the overall design peaked. The overall ambience, the lighting, texture work, and everything in between just felt so good. Felt like a forgotten part of the city that nobody cared about, and the Zen creatures and fauna took over. Keep an eye out, you'll see some familiar aliens here. Also there was another cremator here. Good stuff. And also I saw a barnacle eat a hound eye. God damn. The hound eye and bull squid AI seemed a little off to me. A little stiff if you ask me. Like the hound eyes run at blistering fast speed, or outright ignore you at some times. Bull squids felt more dangerous though, in appearance and function. But the squids also felt like they weren't really trying to attack me in some rare occurrences. All of the canals is just absolutely amazing. You would think that it would be repeating designs, but actually every area of it looks different and unique. Especially this larger canal, which was just amazing to look at for the first time. After a long trek through this abomination of a canal, we finally end up in the last section of the game, the underground section. And to be honest, I don't have much to say about this section. It looks great and it plays great. Big plus again for having the Zen fauna sprawling around in the sewers. And thankfully, the underground areas are interesting enough to keep you going throughout. None of that root canal type design, this is even better. There's even another fight with a cremator in here, in a very narrow passageway. You even get to see a flocking bloater. I didn't mess with it though, and walked past it so the feller could keep vibing. At the end, the screen fades to black, and that's part 2 of Dark Interval. Overall, this is an outstanding project. Part 1 surprised me beyond belief, and Part 2 kept the momentum going steady. I can't wait to see what comes next out of this project. I really have no complaints for this mod. Maybe the difficult might be a little high for some players, but that's pretty much it. And yes, I know there's a new Wasteland demo, and yes, I'll be looking at it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next with Raising the Bar Redux. Thank you for watching.